This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1627, Story Time with Uncle Sal.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was talking about it going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From cakes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons, and everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Adam Murdo.
Comic Geek Speak.
And welcome to the show. Longtime listeners, of course, will know who Sal-ivating is, also known as Uncle Sal. He's been a friend of ours for such a long time, big supporter of our show. We love him. We hope you love him, too. This is a long episode. Actually, it got so long, the recorder actually stopped and said, you've reached your capacity. So we missed the last few seconds of it, but, it's all good. It's Sal. If you've known the episodes, if you heard him in the press, you know what you're in for. Nothing unusual there.
Yeah.
But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of Comic Geek Speak is brought to you by Wild Pig Comics at 14 South Michigan Avenue in Kenilworth, New Jersey. WildPigComics.com with their upcoming Halloween Comic Fest happening Saturday, October 29th from 12 to 6 p.m. Listen to these deals. You get free Halloween comics, one per title to each customer. Free candy, because it's Halloween, baby. Discounts on their 50-cent comics. They're already 50 cents. You get a 25% discount off all 50-cent comics.
Mm-hmm. That's 37 cents a piece there,
That's
folks.
exactly right. 25% off also all new trades, pop figures, toon tumblers, used trades, key issues, and kids' comics. And please check out their revitalized clearance section, restocked with all new deals on great books and items. And if that wasn't enough, and it should be, but it's not, at 3 p.m., they're having the Wild Pig Auction. These are the items up for bids. A Batgirl bust from the Batman TV series, a Wonder Woman The Art of War statue designed by Bruce Timm, DC CoverGirl's Harley Quinn statue, an amazing Spider-Man number 42 in fine condition featuring the first full appearance of Mary Jane Watson, Action Comics number 215 in very good fine condition, Superman number 199, the Flash Superman race in very fine condition, the Al Williamson Empire Strikes Back Artist Edition from IDW, the Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants Artist Edition from IDW, and the Jack Kirby Thor Artist Edition from IDW, all at amazingly low starting bids. Come early, stay late, you'll be glad you did. We'll be there. There's fun food, there's all kinds of stuff going on. It's comics, you know it, you love it, you can't live without it. Wild Pig Comics, Saturday, October 29th, 12 to 6 p.m.
Be there and be scared.
Excellent. I love it. All right. Well, without further ado, here's Uncle Sal.
Hello.
Hey, Sal. Also, we have you
Oh,
on.
man, I don't know what to say, guys. This is like the second time in a row I screwed the pooch on you.
That's okay. We're happy to have you on.
I am like, the prom queen that doesn't put out. I'm telling you.
Well, I am here. We have on the line in New Jersey Mr. Adam the Murdo.
Yeah, I'm here too.
Oh, awesome.
And now Shane just stepped out to make a phone call, but he will be right back, so we'll have three of us here for frivolity and what have you there.
Well, he's always a big shot, so he's got to talk on the phone and, But I'm sorry, I'm delinquent again. I have no excuse other than I discovered the joys of this new thing on the cell phone, which is that little symbol, that looks like the moon.
Yep.
The half moon. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing about the cell phone ever, about the iPhone ever, because then it's the basically my wife won't fuck with me mode of the iPhone that I turn it on. So.
Yeah, we were talking. We said we wonder if he has it on that particular cell phone mode right now.
Yeah, I had it on. I put it on there during the day sometimes when I'm driving, and then I forget to turn it off. You know, and because it's just I got a pet peeve about people that fool around on their phone when they drive. So
yeah, absolutely.
I try not to be a hypocrite. You know,
that's very good.
Because my wife got in a real bad accident last year because a guy was texting.
Oh,
you know, he smashed into the back of her. Yeah, so it was But we're all guilty of it, I think. You know, you stop for a second. And, What have you guys been up to? Anything exciting?
Oh, not to, we're sort of recovering from New York. We all got a little sick, basically.
Did you really? What happened?
I still have
BAP or chlamydia
no,
or gonorrhea?
No, nothing like that. The dreaded, con crud. You come back, you have a little.
Oh, I know. I'm telling you, I think I really think it's something just related to. It's kind of like jet lag. I think. I think it's related to just breathing in the same air over and over and over again from a room full of 150,000 people.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It's like being on an airplane.
Yep.
You know, it's the same way when you get jet lag.
Yep.
'Cause it took me 3 days, and I was still feeling like shit when I got back.
And now you're getting ready to head out to Italy next week. Is that correct?
Yeah, Monday, and then you lose a whole day because it's like a 15-hour kind of a thing, and then we get there Tuesday, and then they added an extra day this year, so it's 5 days this year.
Wow! So that was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It goes like November 2nd.
It's a little weird this year because they have a holiday in Italy this year. It's called the Day of the Dead.
Oh, sure.
Kind of like their Halloween, but a little more religious. You know, it's a national holiday they take off, and so they just extend the con. You know, when it coincides with it, and it's a good show, but man, I got to tell you, it's a lot of work.
I can imagine.
And, you get like about 250,000 tickets sold, and then they have about another 200,000 attendees that don't have tickets. They just come into town just to see what's going on. So on the weekend, it gets really, really ugly. But we've been doing it. This will be our 13th year, so we're always excited to do it.
Now, who is that? So I guess Tiz goes over because Tiz speaks Italian, of course.
Tiz is kind of the filter, the greaseball filter for all the guineas. You got to most of what you got is we do a lot of original art, and then this year we're doing we've expanded into the licensing. You know, we're doing the giclées and the lithographs, but most of the artwork is I would say probably 75% of originals are bought by dealers. Got a lot of art dealers from that part of Europe that come into the show and they buy. So you got to have an interpreter. And especially because bartering and arguing is kind of part of the deal. So, if you're not, it's just part of the culture. You never really, it's always an argument. Everything is an argument. And Tiz is very talented at it. He's good at the Guidoese, as I call it, the language you got to speak. They really kind of try to wear you down, and you want to kill somebody by the end of the day, but it's part of the culture.
But now I look at the schedule for that, and as we record this episode right now is Game 5 of the National League between the Cubs and the Dodgers. If the Cubs go to the series, you're going to be out of the country. What are you going to do?
I'm not worried about it.
Oh, really?
I've been a Cub fan since I was 4 years old, and I never run east looking for a sunset, so I'm not worried about it. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I live in the real world, and then I live in the real world. It's just how it goes. it's like getting a blowjob after you're married. It just doesn't happen anymore. So they get amnesia. They just forget all of a sudden. Oh, he's just like, wait, I don't know what that is. What? How do you do that? Married. What? Oral. What are you talking about? So, no, I'm. Look, I can watch it online. There's so many devices now, and we have cable over there. But it's an important thing. But I follow them. I love them. I'm excited for them. But I don't let it. I'm not one of those guys where they literally playing around sports.
Okay.
I don't. It's to me. I enjoy it. But that's kind of where it ends. I don't. Some guys they get way in this town. You know how it is with sports because of the part of the country you guys live in.
Mm-hmm.
People they don't go to work if the team loses.
Yeah, I've never done that.
They go nuts, man. They take it very seriously. To me, it should be entertainment. So, that being said, I hope you want them to do well because I don't have to hear about Bartman and goats and shit anymore.
Well, I hope they do well. So I'm looking forward to see them go
It'd
pretty
be
far.
fun to see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, they've gone. I mean, they've done. The difference is the ownership has really done what you kind of are supposed to do to build a team. So at least you got that going for us, which we have never had. So the fact that we haven't won a pennant in over 100 years is no accident. I mean, it's not like it's just, oh God, what happened? No, it's by design. We were really, really bad for a long time because the owners just really didn't have any desire to build a winning team. And but we'll see. I mean, the Ricketts family, they're big Trump supporters. Unfortunately, they got but they're very wealthy real estate people that bought the Cubs, so they're committed to spend a lot of money on them. So we'll see what happens.
Like I said, I hope they do.
I got to be honest. I don't follow it as much as I used to when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Because life kind of gets in the way. Kids and telling people to stop it 500 times a day kind of wears you down. And changing I'm legally changing my kids' names to know and stop it. I just can't take. I can't take it anymore.
Sal, how old are your kids now?
My son is 9, and my daughter just turned 6, and she's like Cher, my daughter. And my son is like little Lord Fauntleroy. He plays the violin and has the ascot and the crest. And but my daughter is it's pure evil. So
I have to ask you. Mine are 12 and 14. Out there, is it a thing to take a half-drank water bottle and flip it to see if you can land it upside right?
No, they just throw the water bottle at their father.
Well, I asked that because that is a huge thing here for some reason. Every kid that my kid knows and my kid constantly flipping water bottles. It makes such a horrific noise that it is driving me absolutely up the freaking wall. I'm ready to eat shit, smack somebody.
It's those damn iPads.
Okay.
The iPads are like the ruination of everything. I mean, they won't go anywhere without them. You can't talk to them because they're always concentrating on them. You have to say things 10 times because they're not paying any attention to you. And it's the ruination. I swear to God, I cursed the day I ever brought those damn things into this house. They're good to give you some peace and let them do their thing and leave you alone. But they start driving you nuts, and then they steal your password and start ordering all kinds of shit. And I'm like, and it's like they work for the Pentagon. They figure out your passwords right away, and you have to turn into it's like Red October with the missile codes. I've got it to keep my Apple password away from my kids because they're always ordering more bullshit. And you buy them headsets so that you don't have to listen to it. But it's I've become that guy now where I'm like, turn that damn thing off. Why is it so loud? You know, I've become that guy.
Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you.
You know, and my kids talk shit about me in front of me, and I don't even care anymore. I'm like, yeah, good, whatever.
That happens. We go to the
and
little...
I just want to know what this empty nest shit is about that I hear about, because I cannot wait till they're like, you know what, Dad, I don't know what to say, but I got to move on. Okay, listen, I'll miss you, and while I'm putting shit in a box,
Yeah.
I'll be going, no, listen, you're right. You need your space. No, hey, come on. I'm a pain in the ass. I get it. You know, and I want them to move far, far away. You know, like other countries. you know, because I just, you know, I do everything I can to not come home at the end of the day because I get no peace at all.
Well,
None, you know.
What's this deal with your daughter took a bottle of ranch dressing to school for show and tell?
Yeah. She walks around the house with a bottle of ranch dressing all the time because it's her favorite thing in the world. And then I said, "Hey, listen," because she goes to Japanese Montessori school, which is more just propaganda that my wife perpetuates to get them to be like fully Japanese. Because you know, why you know teach them Italian? You know, no reason to. And she's like, "I want to bring the ranch dressing." So I said, "Fine." Because why argue? You're not going to win. You know, they're just a smaller version of your wife. So you just go, sure, I want to get out of here. You know, I want to go. Bring the ranch. I don't care. Bring the ranch dressing. You know, bring plutonium. I wouldn't care. I'd go, sure. Put it in the bag. You know, bring fertilizer with dynamite. I'd go, fine. Just let's go. You know, in the morning, it's one big argument to get, and then, you know, 2 hours to put the shoes on. And then, you know, you get them all ready, and then they got to use the bathroom, and you got to undress. You got to start over, you know. And then in the winter, it takes you 3 hours to get them ready, you know, like they're about to step out of the space capsule when you got to go out in the winter. And anything to get them out the door in the morning pants, fine, bring the ranch dressing. I don't care. But she took it to school today. It was like, okay. You know, a little bit of a hillbilly, but what do I know? You know, I used to bring Penthouse. So, you know, when Bob Guccione still had a career. So what the hell am I to talk about? I used to bring the Christmas edition of Busty. So I don't care. If they want to bring ranch dressing, bring ranch dressing. God bless them.
Oh my gosh!
Anything to get out the door, you know. Just sure. Hey, no, it's fine. Bring them both. You just want to go at some point.
Oh my gosh!
But you guys look like you were having a good time in New York. Everybody was hooting and hollering, and the show was. I hadn't done that show from that angle in a couple of years. I took a couple of years off where I was just meeting clients directly. So I forgot how crazy that show got. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see you actually on the floor a couple of times because I know that you don't care for that stuff, but it was really, really fun to see you there at the show.
No, it's we changed the whole dynamic of Alex Ross Art changed about 6 months ago. You know, I'll give you the 30-second version so people don't start like turning off the podcast. No, about six. It was all artwork. All I sold for the last 16 years was original art. You know, for Alex. But then about 7 months ago, we decided to go into business for ourselves and do licensing, which means that, you know, the posters and the lithographs and the things that you've seen out there being sold of Alex's stuff was never us. It was always other people. So we signed exclusive deals with Disney and Warner Brothers and Universal and Apple Records to do our own stuff. I mean, to be able to take Alex's originals and make canvases and giclées out of them, you know, and at lower price points so that people can. I mean, you saw the stuff at New York, that kind of stuff. So, It's not just original art now; it's other stuff. That's the good news. The bad news is you got to deal with a lot more Jagoffs now. Yeah, I thought. I mean, it was like whew, I thought I dealt with Jagoffs before. Now it's like Soylent Green. I mean, it is like it is just I thought I knew what misery was before, and I'm like, man, oh man, it's like a Fellini movie now. It's bad, but you know, it was a natural. It just seemed a natural. I mean, it seemed like it was just the where we should have gone. So we'll see. I mean, it's a lot more work, but. The biggest difference is now when you see me at shows, it's because we're not just selling originals, we're selling, you know, clays and prints and canvases and things like that. So it's more, we needed a booth and we needed a presentation that's more, you know, friendly to the consumer, friendly to people that go to cons. Because when you're selling originals, you know, it's a small market that buys original art at conventions. You know, we needed different things that weren't as expensive. So that's why we said, look, we wanted to do something in New York. It was kind of last minute because we were so, you know, tied up with San Diego. And Reed was very cool to help us get a space, kind of 11th hour. And I thought it was going to do well. I didn't think it was going to be. I mean, I think they said they hit 170,000 this year.
I'm serious. Yeah, those numbers, I'm hearing them as well, yeah.
Yeah, and they're on pace for about 185 to 200 in the next couple of years. So I believe that. I mean, Reed and, you know, Lance over with Reed, they do a great job. Yeah. And they, you know, but it's just a shitstorm. That show absolutely kicks your ass because it's so crowded, man. I mean, like crowded. Yeah. But you know, it's a good thing. I mean, New York is New York, and that area is expanding like crazy. You know, so I think they're gonna. I know they're knocking down the building that Artist Alley was in.
Yeah, I heard that. It's like, I think that's crazy to me. That's just a great part of the complex.
Well, they're knocking it down to expand. They're knocking it down to build an expansion onto the Javits. So it's a good thing long term, but it's kind of still up in the air what they're going to do with Artist Alley. I was talking to them about it, and they said that they're going to try like hell to keep it on site, or they may have to move it off site temporarily, which I think would be a bad idea. But they're kind of hemmed in at Reed now with the Javits because they're out of space. Man. Yeah, they're at capacity now.
Yeah, they had many things were off site, like at Madison Square Garden, at other ballrooms, like other bigger bigger multimedia events, like, you know, Walking Dead panels or Doctor Who panels. They had a lot of that stuff off-site because it would have been a madhouse at the Javits Center.
Well, they just don't have the room at the Javits. They don't have the halls and the theaters. You know, they have they don't have it. I mean, the Javits Center is something that's been talked about being renovated. I know they renovated it. I want to say about 5 years ago. They redid the roof.
Right.
Did a bunch of stuff, but they're now that they're going to do some wholesale changes because that entire area is all being built up with new high rises and hotels and restaurants and all that.
Oh yeah, you can see the building when we're at the con. They're all over the place. You know,
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's expanding leaps and bounds because real estate in Midtown Manhattan has gotten so expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
that you know, it'll become like London. It's becoming so expensive that that's why they just keep building.
Wow. Yeah, there was a restaurant that some friends of mine would go to every year for breakfast, like down on 43rd and 11th, and I went there like Thursday morning, and it wasn't there. It was a construction site. No. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that neighborhood, that's the kind of the western half of Hell's Kitchen. That used to be all livery. That used to be where they would put all the horse stables and all the cabs used to park. If you look in Taxi Driver, you see a lot of the scenes where he's going to sign up or try to become a taxi driver. That's all that area, and that's all going, man, because that real estate is just becoming worth a lot of money now that they're, you saw what happened to the meatpacking district and a lot of the neighborhoods that were just absolutely shit. Not 30 years ago. You're talking like 10 years ago. The meatpacking district was no man's land, and it's just now you go through there, and it's all big money now. It's very expensive. And then the neighborhood by the Javits will be the next to go. They started expanding on it a little bit because that's where they wanted to build a stadium for the Jets.
Oh, really?
Way back when, yeah, about I want to say about almost 5 or 10 years ago. That was what they proposed, and then they were trying to get the Olympics, and there was all this other crap going on, and then it didn't happen. But yeah, and then in the next 5 years, that neighborhood is going to be completely transformed.
Wow.
And Reed, I know, wants to expand, and I know they can, but from an exhibitor's point of view, it's an absolute kick in the balls. It is slammed. There's no slow days anymore. There's no slow times anymore. You're slammed from wall to wall. It's a great show, but it's also expensive.
Yep.
It's a very expensive show to do. And I talked to a lot of people that were commuting from a long way because hotel rooms.
Oh yeah.
This time of the year. I mean, it used to be you could find one for under $200. Now it's like you're you're hitting the 3s and 4s now, $100 a night for a room in New York that time of the year.
Yeah, I stayed with a friend in New Jersey and commuted in every morning. That was wonderful.
Yeah, I knew a lot of guys were doing that. It's just gotten really expensive. And I stayed at Midtown, but way over, and it was like I was at 52nd and Madison, and it didn't seem far at all normally, but there's so much construction going on in New York. It was 45 minutes for me to get there every morning.
No, I believe it.
Back
Yeah.
Each way.
And then if you have to go somewhere in the con, it's like a half an hour to go from my point A to point B.
Yeah, well, no, and then you get clients that they want to meet you off-site because it's gotten, the crowd and the level of capacity and the level of the frenzy of that show has got some clients don't want to deal with it. They just say, hey, it's too crowded. I can't get in. I can't get a cab over there. You can't, nowhere to take a shit, nowhere to get food, nowhere to do a lot of things. And it turns off some clients. And then they want to meet you, hey, can you meet me here? Can you meet me there? I'm like, shit, I just got here. I busted ass to get to the hall. And then you get there and they're like, can you meet me over on 8th Avenue? And I'm like, just son of a bitch. And you got to, but, what are you going to do?
The stuff you're selling.
Good problem, man.
No, yeah.
The stuff that you were selling at New York, is that something you've been thinking about doing for a few years, getting into?
Well, what started to happen was there were so many. See, when you get a Marvel license, when you say, "Hey, I want to produce product for Marvel, whatever, Wolverine or Deadpool or whatever your taste is," you have to pay them a royalty, and then you produce the product, and then you go from there. But what happened was they started to fracture the license a lot more. So they started to have a lot more licensees than they ever did. So when I started setting up at San Diego, with Alex, 17, 18 years ago, and then by now, the last few years, I started to notice that there were whole booths that were just kind of exact copies of what we were doing, only they were selling posters, and they were selling giclées, and they were selling lithographs of the originals that I had. Mm-hmm. And I started to notice that some guys in the section that were selling lithographs and posters it was predominantly Alex, because they didn't do a lot. See, when the Warner Brothers stores closed 20 years ago, they created this void. There was this vacuum there was this consumer that wanted that stuff, that wanted superhero, because we were, the superhero generation, which is the kind of the age of the heroes they call it now, came of age. We got jobs, we had money, we had, living rooms and dens and offices that we wanted to hang, pieces of our youth, things that reminded us of when we were, our lives were simpler and stuff we thought was cool when we were kids.
Sure.
So there was that void. So a lot of companies jumped in on that, and they didn't do anything to cultivate a lot of other artists other than Alex. So for a lot of years, I saw Alex doing a lot of this stuff for other companies, and then he just got it really fed up with it because they squashed a lot of his ideas. He wanted to do things more than just, okay, give us another Superman, give us another Batman. He wanted to do, like when he was working with Warner Brothers, that's when he did Crisis, and he did Legion of the Superheroes, and Hanna-Barbera, and Metal Man, and Teen Titans. You know, they were willing to take on lots of a variety of the DC universe. Mm-hmm. And then the last 10 years, they just kept hitting him with the same 2 or 3 ideas, and he wanted to do a lot more, and then they would squash him. So he came to me a couple of years ago, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do the licensing anymore, you know, only because it's frustrating, you know, because I've got a lot of things I'd like to expand upon, because they just wanted another Batman over Gotham. Mm-hmm. They're like, can you give me Batman over Gotham again?
Yeah.
And then people would criticize, hey, it's the same old Alex Ross. And then when he would try new things, they would say, oh, no, give us an Alex Ross piece. You know, we don't want that. So I just said, look, man, we're not kids anymore. You know, I you know, and now's the time to do it. And I said, if you really want to do it, we got to do it ourselves. You know, we have to just decide, hey, but they take a big wet bite out of your ass when you say you want to do that, because now you got to go get the license, and you got to give, you know, it's a big financial commitment, and it's tough when, you know, when you're the galleries and you've been buying it from other people for all these years, and now we're trying to create the idea that no, you can get it straight from us, straight from Alex. Yeah. You know, there's no middleman anymore. That's a good thing, but it's going to take a few years, mm-hmm. you know, for us to really kind of capture the market, to let people know, no, this stuff is coming directly from Alex. And they're not all going to be winners, you know, but you could do smaller editions of, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, or the Doctor Strange piece that we just did, or New Gods and things like that. Because, you know, not everybody's going to want that as much as they want the Justice League, or they want, you know, you're realistic of what people want. You know, people want Coca-Cola, man. They don't want Yum Yum or you know, Mr. Pibb, you know, as much as they want, you know, Superman and Batman.
Sure.
But yet, it's important to do that stuff. You know, it's important to create art just for art's sake sometimes. And to do Flash Gordon, and to do He-Man, and to do, you know, we're doing Universal Monsters now, you know, the classic monsters from, you know, the Karloff and Lugosi and that stuff. Because those are bucket list projects that Alex has always wanted to do. And I said, well, then we should do them, man. You know, because, you know, now's the time. You know, I don't know, you know, anything you're going to do in life, you better just do it, because, you know, it's not like we got, you know, because this stuff can, you know, well, also you got to be realistic, guys. This stuff can take an about face at any time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You know, right now, this crazy surge of popularity of superheroes, it's terrific because we love it, but it could, you know, it could turn around at any given time. So I guess the shorter answer to your question is, I thought about it, but I didn't really want to approach it, because I knew it was going to be an enormous. It was going to, you know, it was going to be a lot more work, and I just was like, shit. I don't know if I was, you know, I was ready for it, but it's timing. You know, the timing was right, and I think it's important, you know, for Alex to kind of create what he wants to create, and not have to, you know, because you know what I mean. We tend to criticize what
mm-hmm.
we see,
sure,
but then when they give you an opportunity to do it yourself, it's like, okay, here you go. You know, you've claimed you had all these ideas, or how it should be done, and then it's like, be careful what you wish for, you know, because then here it is. So.
Yeah, but it's still important for him to be able to do those bucket list things that probably got him into wanting to do art in the first place all those years ago.
Well, you know, yeah. What it also is you get to a point where he's been doing this a long time mm-hmm. now. He started, you know, he did, you know, Marvels when he was like, you know, 20 years old, and he's been doing it a long time. And I think he started to get a little bit. I could see that, you know, the creative flow. It's a cerebral thing. It started to kind of get a little bit stagnant in his mind because they were squashing a lot of his great ideas. I saw a lot of the stuff he wanted to do, and they were like, nah. You hear that sound. I don't know. Tell us about this Sinister Six guy. What does he look like? I'm not familiar with him. And you're like, no, guys, it's not a guy. It's 6 different villains. Really? That's the kind of shit you'd hear from the licensees that have they don't know this stuff the way we know this stuff. They really don't. To them, it's like selling shoes. It's a commodity.
Yeah.
And you think, you know what I mean? They're really not into it the way we are. They don't know the stuff or get excited about it or say, no, that's not the right costume, or that's, or that character's not Marvel, that's DC. I mean, he would literally not know the difference, and that would really infuriate Alex because he's like, man, these guys have the license, and they don't even know the characters. They don't know, who Swamp Thing is or who, Fourth World or any of that stuff, and it would infuriate him. So, I just thought, you know what, man, things were nice. They were comfortable, what we were doing, but I thought, it's time to expand. Yeah. It's time to try, to gamble a little bit. And I can always go back to the bar.
Sure.
Go back to landscaping, Hopefully you don't get, although I don't want to work with those Mexican crews, man, because they kick the shit out of you. But they do more before lunchtime than most people do all day. So.
Now, Adam, I don't want to disclude you because you're not with us in the studio, but if you have anything, just chime in, please, okay?
No, I won't hesitate.
I don't think I've ever had him say, chime in with us. I think in all the years I've been talking, so I don't. He's always kind of got that look like, oh shit, it's Sal. Oh fuck, this guy again. That's always the look he's got. But it's okay. I'm used to it.
Oh, I thought I was going to say something to size. That's okay. So
now, wait a minute. Your family's got the Christmas store, right?
Yeah, no, that's me.
Okay, yeah. How's that going? Is that still is that a steady thing, or how's that going?
Yeah, it's still surviving, keeping its head above water. We have
Well, I mean, the holidays are coming now, so this has got to be your hot time now, right?
Well, hopefully. This is kind of one of our down times. We have a shop down here on the Jersey Shore. That's where I am right now. And so we sell Christmas stuff to the summer vacationers, and we have a lot of Christmas ornaments with the name of the town painted on them, and so people kind of treat us as a souvenir shop with a Christmas theme. So we do pretty well that way during the summer months. And now that season's over, and the Christmas season hasn't quite heated up yet, so we're kind of in a bit of a trough.
Okay, because I know that Hallmark does a lot of licensing now with Marvel and DC.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of superhero ornaments because Star Wars and everything. I mean, you know this because it's your business, but
all of
Disney, a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people come in looking for Star Wars Christmas ornaments, and we have to tell them shamefaced that we can't offer them any such thing because Hallmark's got it locked down.
Oh, right, yeah. They only sell them through their stores, or no?
That's the situation. Yeah, they'll only give the license for ornaments and a bunch of other things to Hallmark.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, no Marvel ornaments, no Star Wars ornaments, very few Mickey and Minnie type ornaments even.
Right. Well, you got to start your own line, Nicky Knockers, start the Maryland Chambers, we can do the vintage ones, Peter North, Stacey Stacks, IP Standing, the old guys from the 70s, Buster Hyman, Sloppy Joe, that stuff. There's a market for that out there. I think you guys got to tap into that.
IP Standing?
Yeah, come on. I mean, Harry Paratestes, those guys, they're still got a fan base.
Oh,
you'd be surprised.
I think he would be, yes. Oh, my God.
Animal,
Yeah.
Pussy Craven. There's a lot of people that still have an affection for those characters.
Are any of these actual characters? They sound more like Garbage Pail Kids to me.
No, they're porn stars. I mean, you got to remember, I started watching porn when I started watching porn. It was 8mm, and they still had,
okay, these are pornography
they
characters.
still had pubes. Yeah, now it's everything below the eyebrows is clean, like Chernobyl. But when I was growing up, it was shit 8mm on a sheet. You know, you had to hang a bed sheet on the wall in your mother's basement and pray to God. You know, the film didn't stutter, because then the bulb would melt, you know, the film right to the damn camera, and then there'd be this stink. What's burning down there? You know, you'd be like, shit. You had to have a security system like The Great Escape, where you had 5 guys all the way up the stairs coughing and tapping to let you know that your mother was coming down the stairs. What's that burning? What do I smell down here? What's that burning? I'm like, what? There's no burning. Ow. Shit. I don't know what these kids do. Jesus. I'm sorry, Pants. Things always tend to go off the rails into a bad direction.
That's okay.
I just figured if I gave you my business speech, and people were probably just, I heard snoring, and I could hear people just driving off the road trying to kill themselves, and they had to hear me talk about licensing with Alex Ross. Okay.
Well, kind of addressing both halves of our listenership there.
It's a different. It's a unique kind of situation we're in now with this stuff, because it's so much more work. But you know, hey, it's a cool time for us, because you know everybody's really into this superhero shit right now. It's crazy. I mean, this is the stuff that we grew up with. It was not a. It amazes me that people still think of this like it's a hobby or something, you know. And you're like, you know, my mother will still ask me, like, "What are you going to do with your life? You know, when are you, you know, does Alex still paint?" You know, she asked me the other day. I'm like, "No, Ma, he's a welder." You know, because they can't fathom that people make a living off a comic. They really can't. They think, you know, there's that whole, you know, persona and kind of idea in the popular, because you know I'm realistic. We're a minority in the world of people that are into this stuff, but there's this image has been perpetuated that there's something wrong with us, or we're geeks, or we're all idiots, and I'm just like, guys, what are you kidding me? Look around. I mean, you got some of the most creative people in the world working on this stuff, and there's billions of dollars changing hands with stuff related to this stuff. So I don't get it when people go, oh, you know, they're nerds and they're this. I'm like, guys, what are you stupid? What's the matter with you? But yet people still ask, you know, you still doing that? Who's you know the guy that draws Garfield? I'm like, no, I don't know the guy that draws Blondie anymore. I don't think there is Blondie.
Oh, there's Blondie.
Is there still Blondie?
Yeah, they're still producing new strips, still in syndication.
You know what I miss? I miss Dick Tracy. I used to like Dick Tracy when I was a kid. And I guess he's back, right? Somebody's doing it. I forget the guy's name.
Joe Staten is drawing it.
Joe Staten, yeah. No, stuff looks good. I saw him at, he's a Chicago guy. He was set up at C2E2 last year, and I saw it, and I said, yeah, that's good. I'm glad I don't know if anybody cares anymore, because Gary Gianni's a good friend of mine, and he did Prince Valiant for over 10 years, and he said that, you know, there's just people didn't know who the hell Prince Valiant was. It's understandable. It's a kind of a bygone era in comic, the Sunday strips and all that.
So you mentioned your mom, Sal. How is your mom doing, by the way?
Sally, you could put in a well and fill it with lead, and she'd climb right out. would nothing would. She's okay. She's unfortunately, you know, I'm at that age now where it's you know, your parents getting old, and so she had a problem, a lot of problems the last couple of years, and we had to put her in a retirement community, and because she couldn't live in the house anymore, and it was tough. because it was a child. She'd lived there since 1961.
Wow.
And just couldn't do it anymore. She couldn't live there anymore. And good days and bad days. She's kind of like, sometimes she's like the juggernaut. You want to put her on a boulder and throw her into space, but it's otherwise she's good. She still breaks my balls regularly. She hasn't missed a beat, calling me a son of a bitch every chance she gets. I pray for your wife. I really do. That's what she says. I pray for that girl.
Thanks, Mom.
I really do.
Yeah, my mom says something similar.
Yeah.
That's great.
My mom's like that Chinese fighting fish. She needs her own bowl. You got to keep the septum on her. Put her with the other fish. They won't last very long. Sally's got to be in her own bowl.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you come back and she's killed everybody.
Yeah.
It's not good. Yeah. She's like Chernobyl. You got to stay away from her and just come back in 100 years and see if the rabbits have 3 legs or not. Can't happen. Doesn't work that way.
I always get from my mom when talking about my wife, "What'd you do?" "I didn't do anything, Mom." "Why is it me?"
Yeah. I like when my mom calls me at home and she says, "Where are you?" I don't know, Ma. How do I answer that? What are you, smart ass? Is that what your wife teaches you? How to talk to your mother like that? Is that what she does? Is that everything? Or everything is? She'll call me just to ask a channel, and then you tell her the channel, and she goes, "Okay." She hangs up. That's it. So ask me what channel Lawrence Welk is on. I go, "Ma, Lawrence Welk got canceled about 30 years ago."
Do you get the, "It's been a week since I've talked to you. You haven't called in 10 days.
No, she calls up and she's sarcastic right away. She'll call and you'll go, "Hello," and she'll go, "I got a son, and I haven't talked to him in so long. I forgot his name, and he's too important now. And the son of a bitch never calls me anymore. Do you remember who he is?" And I go, "What's wrong, Ma? What's the matter?" And she'll go, "Oh," But she's at the age now where she's real honest. She'll be talking to you. She'll go, "Okay, I got to go to the toilet. I'm hanging up."
No filter.
Thanks, Mom.
No, she just goes right for the, "I'm going to wet my pants. I have to go." "Okay, Ma, you better not just go." Hang up. Now, Michael Jordan, does he still play for the Cubs? Or no? He's got a restaurant now, Ma. He doesn't play. Why? I go, "I don't know, Ma. He got old. He retired." "Why would he do that? He was making money, wasn't he? Doesn't he need a job?" I go, "Ma, I don't talk to Michael Jordan anymore." Okay? Why are you raising your voice? Why? And the Bears, do they still have that guy, the Frigidaire? I don't know, Ma. They don't have the Frigidaire anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know what happened to him. Because she thinks I talk to these people. She's like, "Well, where did they go? Where do they live now?" I'm like, what the fuck do I know? I don't know. That's Sally. She's not breaking balls. She doesn't know. But the beautiful thing is, the old Italian ladies, they love going categorically down a list of people and just giving everybody shit. She doesn't even. Nobody's not on the list, and then she doesn't get to me until the very end. And then I go, "Well, Ma, what about me? You didn't say anything." "Oh, you're worse than all of them. You're a lot worse than all of them." I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And then I told her I was going to take the kids sledding. One time, I remember, she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to take the kids. We're going to go sledding." I'm like Mr. Suburban now. I guess that's what you do. She says, "Are you crazy? You're going to get on a sled with your big fat ass. You're going to wind up crushing those kids." I said, "Okay, I guess I won't. You better not. You better not crush those babies." And I'm like, "Ma, what are you talking about, crushing babies? What's the matter with you?" That's. But she's I try to get over there, once a week and see her on the weekends. But it's hard with the kids,
tough,
man.
yeah.
The kids are getting older now, and they take up a lot more time. That's why it's harder to go away and do shows. When it used to be, you went and did shows and it was easier, but now I drive a school bus. I'm always picking up, dropping off. They started karate, the other day, and my son plays the violin. Oh God!
And
you know anybody that's got to deal with this?
Oh yeah, my wife and I never get to see anything together. We're always split amongst kids' activities.
Always, yeah. I give Academy Award performances that like Meryl Streep couldn't match, pretending that I'm enjoying his violin playing. Because it's like somebody sawing a trumpet in half, and you got to listen to this shit with a bunch of these kids. And I'm just sitting there going, hey, yeah, smiling, and I'm going, what in the fuck? Because I'm like, what about Devil Went Down to Georgia? Are you guys going to teach him how to play Devil Went Down to Georgia from Urban Cowboy? Charlie Daniels Band? And they're no, we're not getting to that yet. I'm like, lady, I was kidding. I don't expect a 9-year-old, but yeah, you do it for the kids.
Oh, yes,
it's all about the kids. If he wants to play the violin, fine. I told my wife, give him drumsticks and have him go to school with them in his back pocket. He'll do better with the chicks, but what do I know?
Well, I mean, you mentioned, but you went to Disney World with the family not too long ago, so you take the kids out to see Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a month worth of therapy when you get out of Disney World. That takes its toll, man. You walk out of there with bloody underwear. That place is just 13 straight hours of walking, in the heat, and it rains, and it's like Vietnam. I mean, you're like Forrest Gump the whole time. It just either never stops raining, and I got to go back in to get Bubba because I'm carrying kids or pushing strollers or getting fleeced, financially or waiting in a line, and all this in 1,000-degree heat. So it's just, you do it for the kids.
Yeah.
And it's great because, they're at that age where I don't really know where else to go on vacation because I work all summer. Mm-hmm. And then my fall is insane until middle of November, and so I'm like, okay, let's go to Disney. I don't know what else to do. I can't take them to the grocery store, without saying stop it 500 times and fighting, throwing shit, and knocking shit over and getting on the microphone, the PA, and my daughter gets caught shoplifting at Disney World every year. It's like a tradition to catch her shoplifting every year at Disney. And they got her picture now by the when she goes through the door, they got the face recognition software to stop my daughter. She's always stealing shit. I got to take her back in. Like James Cagney in Public Enemy, I got to walk her in by the arm and go, give it back, put it on the counter.
Big alarms go off.
The other one, the other pocket. That one too.
Put the Mickey ears back.
They just and it's you're there with your wife and you're literally like civilians. I mean, don't expect any action from the wife when you're at Disney World because she called me a sick animal. She said, "What kind of a sick animal wants to get laid at Disney World?" And I said, "Well, I don't understand." Because she's like, well, what do you want to do while you're here? And I go, what do you mean, what do I want to do while I'm here? I said, I'm as old as dirt. I don't give a shit about Peter Pan or pirates or any of this shit anymore. I've been on these rides like 100 times. You figure, you're there and you're with your wife and you're on vacation. You want to relax, have a few drinks, What kind of an animal are you? This is a family place. What's wrong with you? She tells me. So you go along with it.
Oh, yeah.
By the time you walk out of it, you're like, really? More fireworks? I'm like, oh, fuck, more fireworks. bullshit.
Here's
you got to stop.
Here's the craziest thing that I thought of Disney when we were down. All these people waiting and waiting for the electric parade that goes through Magic Kingdom. And I mean like an hour ahead of time to get a seat for this thing. And I hadn't seen I hadn't seen it in 20 years. So, all right, fine. We're waiting for dinner reservations. So we were right there. So I'm just watching, waiting with everybody else. But if our table's called, we're going. So the parade starts. We see the first couple floats go by. Our table's called. We go to eat. And 20 minutes, the parade's over. And I said, wait a minute. The parade itself is only 15, 20, 25 minutes long. And people are waiting an hour beforehand?
Oh, well, here's how you know how fucked up they are. It's an electric parade, which is supposed to be at night. They start lining up in the daytime.
Yeah.
It's like it's still light out.
There's no way.
Lining up. And I'm like, guys, you know, I'm like, can we go? You know, I mean, and then here's the other part that kills me, is there's 4 of us, so I get voted out of shit. That's the part that kills me. And I'm paying for this. Well, when I'm like, hey, guys, what do you think about this right here? You know, like I want to go eat or, you know, hey, prime rib or whatever. You know, I got very few things left. And then she looks at the kids. She's like, well, what do you think? No. Let's keep going. And you're like, what? And then the other thing about Disney World, the worst thing about Disney World are the assholes with the motorized cars. Because 90% of them are not handicapped. They're just lazy jagoffs. I mean, it's like Wall-E. I'm not kidding. Pants, it's like Wall-E. Remember where in the future all the Americans are all fat in these cars? That's Disney World. You've got all these fat hillbillies that don't want to walk. So they rent these motorized cub cars, and they're everywhere. And you see whole families on them, you know, going 2 miles an hour down the road. And I asked the guy, I go, listen, what is with all these jagoffs with these motorized carts? They're not handicapped. And he goes, it's against the law to have anybody, to ask somebody to prove they're handicapped. So anybody can rent them, and anybody can you know, cruise around Disney on them all day. But the problem is they're all over the place. Yeah. They're parked everywhere. Everywhere you go, they're running out. You're running people over, and they're constant, you know. And I'm like, you lazy bastards. I mean, isn't it a good idea? Don't you think you need the exercise? I mean, I understand if you're elderly or you got – not at all. That's not the case because people like – my wife's like, oh, why don't you stop it? I'm like, Karen, I'll give you $1,000 for every one of these people you show me that really needs one of these cars. And it isn't just a lazy jagoff with a beer who doesn't want to walk through Disney World. I don't want to walk through Disney World, but what am I going to do? I'm going to rent a car. What are you, crazy? A motorized cart? I mean, are you like void of a soul? What's the matter with you? Oh God, why you're such an asshole? Why don't you stop it? And I'm like, okay, I'm telling you. That's why, you know, when people come from other countries, they don't understand it. They see the lazy bourgeois Americans who go to Disney World and they don't even want to walk around. They want a motorized cart. It's bullshit, I'm telling you. They're everywhere. And they'll deliver them to your hotel. You don't even, you know, they'll bring them to you. They make a lot of money renting them.
Wow.
Yeah. Everywhere.
The tagline everywhere. Inspired by Wall-E.
Really?
No. I'm not kidding. It's just like I told my wife. I go, it's just like in Wall-E with all the fat asses on the motorized carts. You know, why don't you stop it? You know, my wife, you're such an asshole. You know, why don't you stop? I'm like, I'm just making an observation. What do you got to get all pissed off for? I got to deal with my daughter's the gypsy who has to try to steal everything. My son's at the smart-ass age where he's like, that snow's not real. I'm like, why don't you shut up, you know?
That only gets worse.
Yeah, Goofy's got a zipper on the back. I saw it. Why don't you shut up? Why don't you stop? Let your sister, let your sister have a good time. What the hell's the matter with you? That's not real. I'm like, come on. Will you cut it out? You know, Mr. Big Shot, you know, all of a sudden he turns into, you know, he's fucking Oppenheimer. He's like, oh, I got this all figured out. This is a sham. I'm like, it is? I'm like, good. The next year we'll stay home if this is insulting your intelligence, you know, and it's like, your sensibilities are offended, you know, because there's a guy in a Mickey Mouse suit. You know, that's my son now. He's like, that's a guy in a suit. You know, we go to, and then you really want to pay for a level of insanity that's only like, you know, 12 Monkeys, is that fucking Breakfast with Mickey shit, you know, where the characters come out and you got to have breakfast with all the characters, right? Costs you like $3,000 for a fucking bad omelet, okay, to start with. So, honest to God, I mean, you could get a hooker from every fucking continent to come over and like do coke off your ass for less money than it costs to have breakfast with a guy in a fucking suit. So you go in there, and it's literally like they open the doors to the asylum, because they tell all the kids to stand on the chairs and wave the napkins over their head. And I'm sitting there going, who's got the bacon? Does anybody got any bacon? Can I get another cup of coffee? Because you know, this is you get hit in the head with, you know, with a sausage link, and there's shit all over the floor, and they're throwing cereal, and I'm going, when did this shit start? You know, because you know, you're trying to do it for your kids, but you're looking around and you're going, there's a lot of grown-ups that are getting really a little too excited about meeting Winnie the Pooh. That's the other thing that scares you. At Disney World, you got a lot of grown-ups that are like in line to get their picture taken with Winnie the Pooh, where they wait like an hour. And then when they meet him, they're hugging him and they're taking a picture with him like it's really Winnie the Pooh. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, they got this down, man. You know, it's Disney World, and I, you know, it's great to take your kids because they're still at that age. But man, oh man, as a grown up, it takes its toll on you. It kicks your ass. It really does. It's a lot of work. I mean, and then, you know, you're carrying people out of there at the end of the day. You know, I'm like fucking William Dafoe in Platoon, you know, where I'm carrying bodies out of there. One kid on one shoulder, and then one kid, because, you know, you got to give the cart, you know, the stroller back at the door, and then you got to, you carry me. You know, they turn into, you know, and now I'm carrying people to the monorail. And I got nothing left. Like I said, I'm a bloody mess of rash. You know, everything's rubbing and just chafing and burnt. The other parts, any of the exposed part is burnt. You know, your wallet's empty. You know, your feet. And then you get back to the hotel room and they're jumping up and down on the bed. You're like, oh my God, these kids are on cocaine or something. There's no stopping this shit.
Yeah, can you imagine how much money you would make if you could bottle that?
I'll tell you, all I want when I'm there is peace and quiet. I mean, I would. Then we discovered Utopia. We discovered they have babysitting services, which I was like, you got. I thought he was kidding. I said, buddy, you're kidding, right? He goes, no, yeah, babysitting services. And then because you want to go out to dinner with your wife or whatever. I didn't even want to go out to dinner. I just wanted to sit on a bench. I just wanted to sit there and like stare at the ground, and like, you know, and have like a moment of going, where nobody wasn't asking me or complaining about a line or where are we going next or let's go on that again or whatever, and they're like, no, you could pick them up at 11. And I'm like, AM or PM? Because you can keep them all night, as far as I'm concerned. You know, Orlando police. By the time they find me, I'll be like, oh shit, I forgot. You know, and then you know, I've reached that stage in my life where I can't do the fucking roller coasters anymore. You know, the crazy roller coasters. I like the ones where you're on a rail, you know where you're going. To see, you know, Peter Pan or Haunted Houses and Pirates. That crazy shit they got now with this Expedition Everest where you go backwards, you know, in the dark, you know, at 100 miles an hour. I had a fucking brain aneurysm when the thing went around. I swear to God.
Yeah, I don't think
And I told my son, I said, take a long last look at this ride. Because I said, they're never going to get my ass on this thing again. Because I was in there like veal. You know, they put you in these little cars and they drop the bar, and my fat ass is in there like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, and I have no business going on these rides. Even the guy who tells you to pull the bar down gives you that look like,
Are you
sure? Are you sure? Are you in the wrong place? Are you okay? Like you went into the women's bathroom or something.
There's an exit here before the ride starts.
Yeah, you're doing it. I'm doing it for him. And then the ride stops, and it's you can't. There's something chemically that goes wrong. That you just. I'm not that person anymore for those damn roller coasters. You get nauseous, and the engine light starts blinking, and your body literally starts going, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is a car accident that you're getting in willfully." Why are you doing? And then we went to this other slice of heaven called Blizzard Beach. And they got water parks now at Disney World because the rest of the park isn't enough to take years off my life. And so same deal. My son's 9, so I'm trying to, the macho shit. You're trying to do what he wants and to be your, I'm trying to be fucking Ernest Borgnine. I'm trying to be, Charles Bronson. And go, yeah, let's do it. You go down these I went down this one water slide. It's like a 5-story drop straight down. Okay, my underwear came out of my mouth, and the fucking water hit me on the ass because you're going literally straight down.
Yep.
It's like take a big pen. Remember the big pens, the clear ones? Okay. And remember when you're a kid, you pull the guts out of it and you use it for spitballs?
Uh-huh.
That's what this ride is. Only I'm the spitball now. They put you in this tube and they shoot you straight down. It's a 5-story drop. You hit the bottom and you go, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, I must be out of my mind. I mean, what was it? It was like the Apollo landing when I hit the water. And my son's like, let's go again. I'm like, wait a second. Let me pull the underwear out of my ass. They still never came out of my ass. The string came out of my ear from my swim trunks. And I'm like, and then you go on the other water slides, these slaloms. And you're literally, why don't you just put me in a bag and roll me down a flight of stairs? Because that's what it feels like when you get to the bottom. This shit is just, there's nothing exciting about it when you reach a certain age. You're like, no, I just want to be left the fuck alone. That's my idea of a nice vacation.
Oh, my gosh.
You go to Epcot, Epcot is another beauty, because if you don't have reservations, here's the good news. They got 1 million restaurants at Epcot. Here's the bad news. If you don't have reservations, you can't get in.
Yep.
So you go to every restaurant in the world, and they all tell you fuck off in different languages. Fuck off, you don't have reservations in German, Czech, Italian, Romanian, all of them. They laugh at you when you go to some of them. And you're like, well, when am I supposed to make reservations? They're like, you could start 6 months out. Start making I'm like, 6 months out. I'm like, what is this? The fucking Normandy invasion? I gotta book a restaurant 6 months from now for a hamburger. I'm like, it didn't take me that long to plan my wedding, and I'm gonna do that for Epcot. Shit. I told my wife, I said, look, come on, let's go. Let's buy some beef jerky and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, they have certainly become experts at pre-planning everything.
6 months out, the guy told me. I said, yeah, I understand, you got 1 million people here, but 6 months?
Yeah.
I mean, and it was just like, everything cost a fortune. And, of course, you eat and rest. And then here's my other favorite part. You go to Epcot, or you go to downtown Disney. It's called Disney Springs now, okay? So they got some real nice restaurants there because it's like a mall now, and they got restaurants, and they're expanding the hell out of it. So it's really nice. And they got these Cuban restaurants there, and I like Cuban food, so we went to this Cuban restaurant, this Gloria Estefan. Remember, she used to be a piece of ass from, what was it, Miami Sound Machine or whatever? Mm-hmm. She was hot about, I don't know, back when I was in grammar school. So she's got this restaurant, and across the way they got this world-class cigar store. So I smoke cigars on occasion. I try to stay away because they're bad for you. But occasionally, I like
so they got this. I mean, like they've got every cigar. I mean, like cigars from all over the world. So you go in there and you go, "Geez, this is beautiful," So you go in there, you buy a couple cigars. Of course, they cost more than my first car. When you buy, And my car had, I had the Pioneer Super Tuner in my car. It still costs more than my fucking car, but they charge you for a cigar at Disney World. And then as you're leaving, I tell the guy, I go, "Hey, is there anywhere? Where can I smoke these?" He goes, "There's nowhere on the grounds you're allowed to smoke." and I looked at him. I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "No." He goes, "You can't smoke these on the Disney property." I go, "But you just sold them to me." And he goes, "I know. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know what to tell you." I'm like, "You don't know what to tell me." I'm like, "So why don't I just why don't you just sell heroin? Because there's nowhere you can use it on Disney grounds, but they sold it to you." I said, what fucking difference does it make? This is like the cruelest joke there is. You're sending me out of here with blue balls now. I can't smoke a cigar.
Knocks the wind right out of your sails.
Yeah. I said, okay, I get it. But it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I understand it. They got but in the parks I noticed they've got 2 or 3 smoking areas, and man, oh man, they're literally the saddest thing you've ever seen because they're literally like 6 feet by 6 feet, and you've got like the Tilburns all crammed together like they're in an elevator, an imaginary elevator, all smoking cigarettes at Disney World. But otherwise, it was a good vacation.
It was a good vacation otherwise.
Yeah. I like when they take the pictures of you on the roller coasters. Those are beauties, ain't they? I always look terrific in those. Because there's one guy in the picture that's got the look on his face like, what the fuck am I doing? And that's me. Like, get out of here. And you wait like 2 hours for it. I took my daughter on this Frozen ride. That's the big thing now, You'd think it was people that were, get to see, Bo Derek naked or something. For Christ's sake. I mean, the line was, over the summer when this thing opened, the lines were like 3 hours long.
Oh, my God.
Without exaggeration. And when I was there, they were about 2 hours. But we did the Fast Pass thing or whatever the hell it is. So we got in about a half an hour. And it's nice, but this Frozen thing is like, my God, Disney's got, this has become a cult. I mean, this is unbelievable how crazy these kids go for this Frozen stuff. It's especially with little girls. With little girls, of course you're going to do whatever. Well, with my daughter, she doesn't even ask my permission. She just does it anyway. But, the Frozen ride is their big new thing. That they put it at Epcot to try to get people to go to Epcot.
Yeah. Everything in Epcot now is themed to a movie. Yeah,
and they're doing, they're really trying to kick it in the ass because I know that attendance at Epcot has just never, gotten what they've ever wanted because everybody still goes to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
The other parks, when you go to the movie park, the studio park, they call it, it's 2/3 under construction right now because they're building all the Star Wars stuff. And there's not much to see because, again, it's all walled off, and they're really they're doing a lot of ambitious stuff with Star Wars. They're building a full-scale Millennium Falcon and all that kind of stuff. But they show pictures. It looks like it's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
And the same with the Wilderness Park. They're building this Avatar land, which I didn't even think that many people gave a shit about Avatar, but they're building part of the park based around Avatar. And then it's nonstop construction with Disney World. I mean, they never stop building there. And we'll probably go. I talk shit, but we'll probably be back next year. Where else am I going to go? Where am I going to go? I got nowhere to go with these kids for vacation. I mean, are you kidding? I mean, and they'll get to the point where they'll go without me. They don't need me. You could stay here. Okay.
Well, I wanted to ask you, up in New York, we were talking about like the new Netflix shows like Luke Cage, but you don't have Netflix, do you?
Well, I got to be honest, I've been trying. I mean,
okay.
Every time I turn around, I have been Okay, I'm going to sign up for it. Okay, when I get back, I'm gonna hook it up. And when I after this show, I'm going to this. And everything is always as soon as I get back from this. And since we started this licensing stuff, and with the kids at the ages they're at now, I'm never able to stop and do anything. And and then I thought the stuff was going to come out on DVD eventually, and I guess it never did. I guess Netflix hasn't really, even Daredevil. I thought that stuff was eventually going to be available, and I guess you can watch it on your computer, right? Hulu
your phone, computer.
I haven't. I really want to because I'm a big Luke Cage guy, obviously, and no, I got to sign up for it. I guess you got to buy a Blu-ray player and go that route.
If you have a game system, you can stream it through that too, like a Nintendo or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I always mean to set it up, and then I just, there's always something that kind of distracts you, like a violin recital, and now the kids are taking karate. Yeah, taking karate. I love this. You're taking karate, and again, it's all about the kids, man. And then when it's not the kids, I'm working. And so I literally have to carve time out of the day to sit down and draw because it's the only, it's the only part of me that's left that's still Sal. The rest is all just owned by somebody else. I mean, I'm like fucking Ghost Rider. I sold my soul a long time ago. I'm like, it's like, Jesus. I don't know what's left anymore. With all this art stuff and Alex Ross, and Sienkiewicz, the Polish Prince. I'm still doing stuff with him, and Tiziano. My God, it's like I'm telling you, it's like the Doom Patrol, the assholes that I'm around. Chris Roop and Tiziano. The guys I go to Italy with, it's almost like a cruel joke. It really is the unholy trio. I'm not kidding. It's like, these guys fight, I swear to God, more than two high school kids. They're like two fucking high school girls, at the prom, the way they fight and argue all the time. And I'm just sitting there going, guys, really? You really want you're gonna keep fighting over this bullshit, and they always want to be who's right, And but this year, Luca is. We're going to try to expand. We're going to try to continue to do more because this year they're bringing out the DK3 guys. They're bringing out Azzarello and they're bringing out Frank Miller.
Oh wow!
And I talked with John Cassidy said he's going to be there this year, so it'll be nice to see somebody that speaks English, at Luca, that I can actually, break their balls in American, and they can understand my insults versus the Italians going, Simone, his usual bullshit. Now you guys know comics better than I do because I don't get. What is Simone doing now? Because I see a lot of stuff that he posts.
That's a great question. Let me see if I can.
Is he doing a monthly? Does he do just covers? I mean, I know he was doing some interiors on Spider-Man because I saw him posting stuff, but I really don't get to the comic store as often as I would like to know. Who's doing what. I know JR is doing it. God, he's still over at DC, which kind of shocked me. That John Romita Jr. is still at DC because I love. Everything he does, but, when you get out of the loop, man, you get out of the loop,
Let's see. Simone, I think he's still doing, looks like Amazing Spider-Man. I'm not sure if he's doing the interiors. Let me just take a peek here if he's doing the interiors or just the covers here. No, he's doing the interiors of Amazing Spider-Man, Yeah,
I don't know if he's doing fill-ins or he's doing, because, I see him so seldom. He was supposed to be in New York, and he changed his mind, and he was supposed to be in San Diego, and some family commitments came up, but I'll see him in Luca, and I want to at least pretend like I know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, it looks like it's Spider-Man 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. I'm not sure what that is, but that's what he's been working on.
No, he's still a tremendously hardworking guy. Mm-hmm. I love what he does, but we don't talk to each other as much as we used to because
we used to be really good friends, and then he got married. He's got a family now.
Right, yeah.
I've got I'm like Dr. Xavier over here, with these two. It takes up all your time, man.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a full-time job.
On top of the full-time job.
And then these shows, shit. How many shows you do a year now, Pants? You do what, about?
I don't.
Half a dozen or so?
Well, that's about right. This year was the first year in a couple of years I actually made it out to San Diego. So I did that. I go to Heroes.
You're hanging around with Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne's a cool guy.
That's fucking Wayne, man. My God, I was glad to see that you guys hooked up. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah, I've known him for a couple of years. He listens to our show, and he loves you. He's got a great collection of Alex's stuff.
Yeah, and I met, the weird thing about Wayne was I met him, like, when I was doing Atomica at, like, the Canadian shows because of you guys.
Yeah.
He came up when I was sitting there bullshitting, and he's like, yeah, I hear you on Comic Geek Speak, and then we just kind of saw each other at shows, but that was kind of weird when I saw you guys hanging out at San Diego. I thought, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. He was great. It was great to see, Tiz again in San Diego. I haven't seen Tiz in quite a while. And,
you lead a charmed life.
And of course, it's great to see Julia and Sean. We actually got to go up behind the velvet rope at the Alex Ross booth upstairs to talk to you, so that was very cool.
Well, that's all bullshit. That's all just trying to look like we got our shit together. Pretending like we know what the hell we're doing.
But yeah, about a half a dozen.
Yeah.
See, I was also in New York, and I was in Heroes Con, and went to Baltimore. Yeah, I try to
How about Emerald? You still do Emerald? I haven't done Emerald in a while. I was thinking of doing it this year.
Yeah, I haven't done it since 2014. We're actually talking about trying to go out next year because tickets just went on sale, and we're trying to work out the logistics because I'd love to go. It's a great town, but it's a commitment because we got to fly to the West Coast and to haul out there, and then the time change. You got to spend get there Wednesday, leave on Monday. It's an investment, but it's a great. Again, it's run by Reed now. And I love it. It's still a pretty good comic show, and now they've had a lot of celebrities and everything else, but I want to get out there again. I'm trying for next year.
Haven't been in a long time, and since Jim started it way back when, and it was always a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the people of Seattle, that just whole comic market out there, because you get a lot of, it's interesting because some of the shows, especially the Midwest, the East Coast, and even San Diego to some degree, you get a lot of the same, not a lot of the same, but you start to see some of the same people or the same retailers, the same exhibitors. But then when you do Seattle, it's completely different. You get a lot of people from, you get a lot of Canadians, you come down from Vancouver, and you just get a lot of people, it's interesting to see, and it's a really cool part of the country, Seattle. And I did it way back when, but now I know they've expanded. The show has grown tremendously. It's right in downtown Seattle, and people of Seattle are great.
Well, now, are you going to be doing any shows when you set up as yourself? I mean, I know it's kind of tough with Alex Ross, but do you need to do shows as yourself?
You know what, Pants? I'll be totally honest with you. Nobody really gives a shit. I mean,
that's not true.
I love it. I would do it, like even C2E2 or any of these. I used to love to do Mocha and do C2E2. And I don't really have anything out, anymore. I mean, Atomica's been gone for a long time, and I've been working on some creator-owned stuff for a while that I continue to work on, but I just don't have I haven't been putting the time into it, for the past few years that I used to because of what I'm doing with Alex now. It's just become much more consuming. And it's terrible because it sounds like an excuse, but it's just because it's really why I got into business. I didn't get in this business to be an art dealer or do this stuff with Alex, but it just became kind of it got out of control, and it was just something that it needed to be
was important to take care of. But I would love to set up. But the last couple of times I set up on my own, I sat there and nobody knows who I am or what I do, and I just literally sat there with a finger in my ass the whole time. I just thought, you know what, this is kind of a waste of time. And as much as I love it, like I said, I would love to do it. Unless I've got something out, or I've got a book out, or I've got something I'm trying to promote, I don't really see the need. Or, most people in Artist Alley have stuff they're selling or have stuff they're doing, and my style has never been, the consumer friendly style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't draw and do stuff the way that most people that go through Artist Alley like. So my style was never kind of the kind of stuff people liked, and that's okay. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Okay. Well, I just know that a lot of our listeners like to meet you at shows, and
sure.
At the real big ones, so they like to see you.
Well, I mean, I would love to do it. I still plan on doing my own stuff. I don't know how often it will come out because I'm still trying to get this company off the ground, and it's important right now. But they still come by the Alex Ross booth, and break my balls. They'll ask me a question, and I'll go sure, or they'll ask where Sal is, and I'll go, why do you want to know? Because I'm assuming they're
collector or something.
Maybe they're going to give me a subpoena or something from Disney World with my daughter. And then I go, Dad, what do you need? How can I help you? And they're like, no, I just hear them on Comic Geek Speak. And I go, oh, okay. And then they want to talk about cocks or something. I go, sure. I don't know. I mean, I never shy away from anybody that ever wants to. They always ask, when you going on? I tell them the same thing. I go, when they ask, I go on. Yeah. It's not my show. I don't know. It's a situation with the guys, and when they ask me to go on, I'm always welcome. I'm always willing to go on. I don't do other podcasts or anything like that, and not that there's this fucking laundry list of invitations. But, I don't usually do them unless it's something related to something we're going to promote or something like that.
Well, yeah, I would say we had you on a tease at a Comic-Con when me and Julie went upstairs and talked to you. That was cool. But having you on the show, I could just talk to this guy for hours and have nobody. I don't care if anybody else hears it. It's just I like talking to the guy. What can I tell you? He's just very, very always been kind of over the years.
Always welcome on the show.
Yes.
Well, I know there's a lot of people that are kind of I rubbed the wrong way or whatever the hell it is. But it's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And at San Diego, I did that artist thing, and there was that incident with that one guy.
Oh my God! Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, what really the part about that thing that got me angry wasn't that the guy criticized me. Okay, because I don't. Come on, I get called worse. By my kids. It was that he was wrong, and I'll tell you why he was wrong, is because nobody likes this stuff more than I do, and especially Jack Kirby, Gene Colan, John Buscema, Gil Kane, John Romita, Tuska, Steranko, the guys that I feel just are forgotten and don't, are kind of fading from the idea, from the mindset of who these just tremendous artists are in the business. And he accused me of it was a giant advertisement for Alex Ross. Now, in fairness to the guy, I handed out these catalogs of what we were doing, which I think was a mistake because it came across like I was really there just trying to plug my own agenda, which wasn't the case. But I could see how that it looked that way. And I was using examples of Alex, maybe too many, but I also talked about other people. But that being said, I didn't feel it was fair for the guy to get personal because people were calling me saying, hey, did you see they were saying this about you, saying that about you. And I'm like, guys, that's cool because everybody, you're going to always kind of breed that type of thing. When you open yourself up to that, people are going to criticize and they're going to have their opinions. Now, I only was offended by the idea that I'm some kind of a shill, because when Alex first asked me to be would I help him with his art, my first reaction was absolutely not, for the reason of I despised art dealers. No, and I'll tell you why. Because when I started going to cons, like in my first con I went to was at the YMCA, in the ballroom at the YMCA on Chicago Avenue in 1975. Okay, art was thrown on a table like shit. It was stacked. It wasn't, it was the prices were on the back, written in pencil, and it was treated like it was dirt. It was meant to be tossed. It was thrown away commodity. And even in all through the 80s and 90s, it was still like that. And when you asked an art dealer a question, they were always pissed off. They were angry. They never wanted to talk to you. They were literally like guys in a flea market. They were like shoe salesmen. If you said, "Hey, do you have any Kirby or any Busan?" They didn't even know who the artists were, nor did they care. They were just selling this stuff that publishers were really kind of throwing it away. And I didn't like art because I didn't feel they respected the art or the artist. And I revered this stuff, and I revered these guys because they were so influential in my life. In fact, when I finally was fortunate enough to meet John Buscema and John Romita Sr., I just told them, I said, listen, without you guys, I wouldn't be here right now, because you guys, your work spoke to me that way. And, the first time I saw Kirby, it kind of changed. It set me off on what I wanted to do with my life. And for this guy, I'm not gonna get into that, to accuse me of that kind of thing. That's the only part of it that really kind of got me angry. Was that he accused me of just being this shill who was there just to pimp Alex Ross art. And that was not my intention. And if it came across that way, it wasn't what I was trying to do. And if they asked me to do it again, which, I don't know, I would do it completely different. Yeah. I would approach it much differently. And I invited people to come on there with me, but nobody would go.
Oh, jeez.
Because a lot of art dealers don't want to leave their booth, at the show. But I thought it was important, because there are ways to buy art inexpensively and that kind of thing. But anyway, I heard some of the fallout, and people were calling me, and I go, no, it's okay, I don't really pay attention to the forums too much, because people, they say hateful shit, and then, it just gets in your head.
Right.
So, and me, I'm like a flower.
Yeah, you're a very delicate flower. Yeah.
I'm delicate, but I know you guys, you heard about it and you were talking about it.
I was there. I was at the panel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was unfortunate, and I wish, and in fairness, John Suntress, I guess, went and tried to talk to the guy afterwards, and the guy didn't want to talk to him. That was kind of, and I was like, John, don't worry about it. It's all right. Forget about it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah. And when you do what I do, when you're in the kind of job that I have, you got to learn to just go, hey man, that's okay. I can't afford to really get into that whole pissing contest and start calling people names and all the rest of that. That's cool. I don't really. I can't afford to do that.
Yeah, that wouldn't go anywhere.
No, yeah, it's even kind of like when I get out with you guys and I like to talk shit and break balls and people sometimes ask me, they're like, you really think it's a good idea to, because you represent this and represent. I'm like, guys, I'm just bullshitting. I mean, I'm just down here having a good time. It's not malicious. Yeah, okay, I can get a little raw or whatever, but it's not meant in a hurtful, malicious way. If people want to talk about whatever, it's cool. But I just figure, it's nice to also be able to. I grew up with a lot of brothers, so all we ever did was break each other's balls. So I talk to you guys the way I talk to my brothers on the phone, which is to constantly just talk shit about each other and talk about, Stacy Stacks and Christy Canyon, which is kind of what we do. But anyway, if they ask me next year, maybe you come on with us, Pants. Come up there.
I don't know about that.
I could push you in front of the next guy that comes up and says you're Alex's pimp.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not sure I do
Like,
too. I think John handled it pretty well. John was took care of the heckler pretty good, I felt.
John's awesome.
He
John's
is.
the
He's
best.
great.
And I really kind of felt. Again, I was only really kind of angry about it because I was like, my God, this guy has no idea how he could not be more wrong in terms of how much I love those guys. And, you know, I could talk about anybody from Charles Schultz to, you know, on down. And about any artist you want to talk about in comics, you know, I can talk about them because I love the stuff. I really do. Personally love it, not from a business standpoint. Mm-hmm. And to imply that it was just a big commercial for Alex Ross, yeah, I think part of that was my fault. I shouldn't have given out the catalog, but I thought I was trying to play Oprah. I was trying to give away something free to everybody.
You get a catalog, and you get a catalog.
I think in retrospect, bad idea. I shouldn't have done that because it looked like I was just up there like Tony Robbins trying to pin, you know, Alex. But you know, it's cool because San Diego, you get people that are passionate about the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, next year when they ask me, I'll tell them to fuck off. No. I got phone calls. Hey, I heard what happened. I'm like, oh, God. Guys, you know, and after San Diego, I'm so tired. I'm like, I don't. What did I do? What did I say? I don't even remember. What? Huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not every day you get heckled on your own panel. I mean, that was...
It's okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think I understand what the guy was saying, and he had a point. But it's when they start piling on, and because they love to pile on, you know, when they, you know, yeah, I mean, he sells this, and I'm like, why don't you guys come and say it to my face? You know, why don't you come to the booth and say these things so we could talk like gentlemen instead of getting on a forum or getting on like a coward getting on a page and talking shit about me. You know, why don't you just come to the booth and say, hey, man, you know, I didn't like what you did, blah, 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 and then we could talk about it, you know. Or I would have invited the guy up on stage and say, hey, man, what do you want to talk about? You tell me what you want to talk about, and let's talk about it. You know, I'm not Malcolm X. I'm not up there trying to dictate what, you know, people should, you know, say or know about the comic world. I'm trying to, you know. I was faking my way through the whole fucking thing. I'm like with John Suntress. I'm up there with you know the Greek prince and you know fucking Adonis, who has got a joint in one hand and a glass of Cuddy Sark in the other hand. And he walks around like fucking David Niven whenever I see him at a con. All he needs is a smoking jacket and on a fucking beret. But he's the only thing that makes me look respectable up there because if I got up there, I'd be just like, what do you assholes want to talk about? Basically all of it. But anyway, it's like you, Pants. I collect the stuff on my own. I don't buy it to sell it. Yep. I collect certain stuff just because I love it. I don't. You know, the pieces that I have are ones that are you know near and dear to me, and I'm not just a soulless prick who's here to with an agenda. So anyway, that's my piece for whatever it's worth.
Very good. Well, like I said, I enjoyed the panel immensely, even with the little fun part of it.
Well, thank you. No, I think I would. Yeah, and I would do it if I had to do it different. I would definitely do it different next time. I would not talk about Alex Ross at all. I would talk about everything but Alex Ross. If somebody had an Alex Ross question, sure. That's kind of you know why I'm there. What can I do? But did you have a good time at San Diego? I never get to see you. San Diego.
I did. Again, it was my first time out there in a couple of years. I got to see a lot of people who I haven't seen in a while, spend some time with them. It was, you know, I got to see you. I got to see Tiz. I got to see Wayne. I got to hang out with Julie for a little while. That was just really, really fun.
Yeah, I don't, you know, it's one of the, it's a blessing and a curse.
for me with San Diego because I just really don't get the chance to see anything anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
I know. We tried to get you to go to dinner. We couldn't even figure that out at San Diego.
Well, the problem with dinners are that, I have to get there so early, and then by the time the show ends, it takes us another, hour and a half to 2 hours after they clear the show floor to close everything down and go back to the hotel. And, and sometimes we have art we got to put away or money, receipts, all this bullshit. And then you turn around and you're like, fuck, it's 11 o'clock. You don't even, and your ass is hanging out. You're so tired. So that way, when I used to bring my wife to San Diego, we used, I couldn't even have dinner with her because I was eating dinner at 11 o'clock at night. True. And it started to become like, oh, you're not going to eat with me? And I'm like, well, I can't. I'm like literally, I'm like the hostess at a restaurant, for Christ's sake. I'm walking around giving menus out. So, I don't know. I just, I try. To me, that's the best part of the shows is being able to hang out with your friends.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, and then it gets away from you, man, as you get older. And, it's nice to it's still great. A lot of people I know, San Diego kind of turns them off, either some for the better, some for the worse. And I think everything they say about San Diego is true, good and bad, depending on what perspective you're looking at it from. But I think where people are really wrong is when they say that there's no comics there anymore.
Oh, and
that statement always kind of aggravates me. It's not about comics anymore. I'm thinking to myself, man, take a picture from my booth from where you're at, and within 20 feet in every direction, there's a comic publisher.
Yep.
And so I honestly don't know what that is about. There's still long boxes. There's still small press. There's Art Baltazar, Franco, and Artist Alley, and every publisher that you could mention, from Boom to IDW to Marvel and DC, obviously. So I don't know what the hell people are talking about when they say there's no comics at San Diego. It really aggravates me.
Yeah, and
I some of the shows, you're right, because they become autograph shows.
Sure.
But those there's no comics at. I took my son to Wizard Chicago, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, when he was here in town, because I just wanted to buy some comics, and I wanted him to, see the con from the other angle. And there were no comics there. There were no retailers there. There were no publishers there. It was all Walking Dead celebs, Tootie, the black guy from Planet of the Apes, the guy from BJ and the Bear. I'm like,
Greg Evigan?
Gil Gerard. I'm like, okay, if this is your speed, not my thing. But, you want to take a selfie with the hillbilly from Walking Dead. All right, hey, fuck do I know? Terrific. But I was kind of like, wow, there's no comics here anymore. It's become like a celebrity show. So, but they still advertise it as a comic show, which is what kind of is frustrating.
Yeah.
And they, and I'm like, it's not what the show used to be. It's a different kind of identity now because there's a lot of money in those damn celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah.
Well, they don't have to give them guarantee. They just have to give them guarantees. I just have to say, Pants, I guarantee you're going to make X amount of dollars, and then you and your people handle the autographs.
Mm-hmm.
You handle that, and you take in the cash. So as long as you make your nuts, I don't have to pay you.
Yep.
Because my money goes into setting up the show and promoting it and all this. Now, in the old days, Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and Hamill and those guys, they were getting a fee. Shatner would get whatever it was, $50,000, $40,000, a flat celeb fee to come in and do a 40-minute Q&A, and that was it. It was gone. And he didn't, or he did, if he did autographs, he didn't collect the money, you did. But then they realized, hey, there's more money to be made if I just give you a guarantee. Now, every guy's guarantee could be different. Like,
right.
Peter Mayhew could be $5,000 or $6,000. Now, I know the hillbilly what's his name? The guy from Walking Dead.
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus is up to probably $85,000 to $100,000 guarantee.
Wow.
And that's just, he has to make that. Now, it doesn't mean he doesn't make a lot more. He makes that, and then, the fees go up or down from there. It could be 20, it could be 30, depending on who's hot or whatever. And then, Wizard wants these guys to sign contracts to agree them to do multiple shows. Now, the other angle that nobody wants to talk about is it's cash.
Yeah.
Okay? So, good luck with what they are and they aren't claiming. And I've been in many a green room where I see tables full of cash. I mean, tables full from collecting for, and that's not even photo ops now.
Oh,
that's
geez.
autographs. Photo ops are another $300 to $500. And what they're doing now is they're charging you $300 to $500 to take a picture with X celeb. I won't mention any names, and then they charge you again for them to sign it.
Yeah.
So there's a tremendous amount of money in this because there's a lot of cash, and then when you do foreign shows, I won't mention any countries, Canada. Okay, they're literally. I have seen guys walking out with suitcases full of money. Suitcases. Like fucking Tony Montana, where they just, they just picked up coke at the hotel from a bunch of Colombians. And they're walking out of a suitcase full of money. So it's a very alluring thing, for a lot of these celebs that don't want to turn it down. Now some agents and some like Lucas and some other companies are now starting to politely put in the contracts, don't do shows. They don't want to dilute the brand, like the guy and the girl from the last Star Wars, Force Awakens. You notice you don't see them doing cons.
Right.
So some of that is they want to try to keep that down to a minimum. Like this year at San Diego, Suicide Squad, they were 15 minutes and gone because they don't want them to dilute their celebrity by sitting there for 2 hours signing. So I understand, some of these shows, there's a tremendous amount of money in that stuff. So, you see where they're going. But when I go, I'm still there looking for back issues of, Tales of Suspense or something like that. I was at the store today. I was picking up old issues of Flash. I'm like, Captain Cold, huh? That kind of shit. It's amazing some of the stuff you run across. You're just like, oh, I gotta have this.
Yeah, I got my list when I go to cons, and I'm looking through those back issues and finding some good deals.
I know everything I want until I get there. I swear to God, that happens to me every time. I got all this, I know what I'm going to get, and then I get to the store and I'm like, fuck, I can't remember anything. What did I want to pick up?
And if I do remember, I remember it wrong and get duplicates.
I've done that with the Masterworks. I buy a lot of the Marvel Masterworks, the last 10 years because it's just easier than pulling out the separate issues. Even though I love the smell and the texture of still reading comics. Yeah, that's the old comics. But I find myself doing it with the Masterworks, where I buy them and then I'm like, shit, I buy them again. I'm like, I bought 2 of these, or I just forget what I bought because they come out very infrequently now. They don't come out, steady. They come out, sometimes they come out and then Marvel will wait and then they put another one out in a few months. But, I bought the Spider-Man where he's fighting the Grizzly, I think, was the last Masterworks I bought. I'm like, the Grizzly? When I went over to Ross Andrew, I remember I was heartbroken. John Romita stopped drawing Spider-Man. I was like, shit. This world's not fair, What the fuck happened? How can this be? So anyway, anybody that that's into comics or not into comics, or they got a valid argument about some of these shows, but I can't keep up anymore of how many there are. My God, there's so damn many of them now.
Yeah, there's like several every weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, the only thing about that disappoints me are when you hear you know, and God bless them. I want them all to succeed. You know, Salt Lake and Denver and Boston and you know, Texas and Vancouver, and you know, those are all great shows. But when I hear people say we're beating San Diego numbers, you know, we did 165, we did 180,000 K, you know, people wise, we got this just tremendous population, you know, I mean, attendance. My only question is, are you guys spending any money? Are you guys buying any comics?
Yeah.
Because I wish they would buy comics, because I wish they would go to Artist Alley. I wish they would help and, you know, and kind of promote and contribute to independent comics and all kinds of other comics. When you think about how many great comics there are out there that aren't necessarily mainstream, it just frustrates me that a lot of the money is getting siphoned out of the room by, you know, a lot of the other stuff, a lot of the signatures and a lot of that. So when they advertise these as comic shows and things like that, and people in Artist Alley aren't necessarily seeing any of the action, that's the part that kind of is frustrating to me, or sad to me. Mm-hmm. That you've got, you know, these, like New York, for example. I don't know how great was Artist Alley in New York. Pants,
it was.
Right? I mean,
it was packed every day.
Good.
It was really rocking. It really was.
I don't think, I would argue that that's probably the greatest Artist Alley in like the world in terms of a con is the New York Comic Con.
I would agree with you.
The level of no offense to San Diego, because San Diego is still, you know, my favorite, but for different reasons. But New York Comic Con, Artist Alley has just, it's the best of the best. You have just so much talent in Artist Alley up there. And, you know, because most of them live there, and a lot of them come over from overseas, you know, direct flights to New York. And then they can meet with their editors and, you know, meet with Marvel and DC and all that. But when you walk through, it's just like it's heavy hit, one heavy hitter after another at that show. It's great. And that's what I tell people. I go, guys, if you want to buy art, go to Artist Alley, man, especially in New York. I mean, my God. I mean, the quality that's there and the variety of the different, you know, that's the one part about it that it pisses me off, is I don't get a chance to walk around up there and people whose work I really love just to be able to talk to. So when I hear all this, you know, all this money, all these numbers, and I'm like, shit, I wish they were buying comics. I wish they were, you know, going in Artist Alley and discovering some of these guys and not just getting commissions, but buying books and trying shit out, you know, and promoting these guys. Because we need it, man. The arts needs it. They're killing music and art in schools everywhere now. My son, they've got it, I think, twice a month now. They got art in school because they don't have the money for it. They kill it. The arts are dying.
My oldest boy likes to draw, and kind of to encourage that, we got him a drawing table that I built from IKEA, put it upstairs for him to just do whenever he wants. Go upstairs and draw. It doesn't matter day or night. You get a bug, go draw.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's people ask me all the time, you know, my kid draws, what should I do? And I go, nothing. Just tell him to fill up sketchbooks, you know, just tell him to draw. That's all he needs. They don't really need a lot of instruction, you know, at a young age. They just need the repetition. They need the practice of you know, things being a product of their imagination. It's very important.
And some of that,
overthink it sometimes.
Some of that's curbed by computers, video games, iPads, iPhones, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we set limits like, all right, you got to go do something else. Go draw, go read a book, go run outside, do something else. You can't just do this.
No, it's hard because it's hard because we're victims of what our parents went through too. It's a different world now.
Sure.
You know, it really is. It's a whole different dynamic of what's going on and what world they see and what their friends see and you know. But to me, it's like, you know, I love it to death when I see my kids you know, drawing, because it's like, it's still, to me, it's the coolest thing. Because it you know, it saved me as a kid. You know, it's basically, you hope they find something that they can really, it's rewarding to them.
Sure.
Nowadays, my God, there's so much shit that they have. You know, they got fucking 300 channels. You know, we never had. You know, we had you know, like the rabbit ears with the fucking hanger, you know, stuck to the top of the fridge.
Yep.
Top of the TV. And Bozo Circus we had in the morning. That was it. Ray Rayner. He didn't have, now DVRs, and, I recorded it, and my daughter with the iPad, and, my son's always got the iPad, and they put the headset on now, so they're like fucking F-15 pilots. I'm yelling at them, hey, and they don't even hear me. I got to go up and I got to pull the plug out. Or when you, I literally got to throw water at them sometimes when I'm calling them to dinner because they got the fucking headset on. And I'm like, hey, I've been calling you. And they're at the age now where they're going, what? Real nice, huh? That's how you talk to, that's how you talk to your father. Real nice, my father had to tell you more than 3 times. It was like you woke up and it was Friday. After. He hit you. You'd be airborne. You'd be over the house, and you'd be like, "Shit, that's what the house looks like from up here." They can hit your ass on the top of a flagpole if you yell at my father. Now these kids, you can't say shit, though. There's nothing behind it anymore.
Yeah,
there's no accountability. My mother used to just ask you plainly, like, "Do you want me to beat the shit out of you?"
Oh, yeah.
You go.
Yeah, can't do that anymore.
She would just ask you, and you go, wait a minute, let me think about that. Like, no. Okay, then move your ass. And when it was dinner time, it was dinner time. Dinner time was almost like, it was like a dog whistle. When it was dinner time, that meant everything had to shut down. There was no more TV. There was no more bullshit. It was time to eat. It was literally time to eat. And if they had to tell you more than 3 times, then you knew,
Oh,
you
yeah.
were a kick in the ass. You were going to, it was like enough. Now they want to watch in front of TV, and they want to, and then it's, they want to hurry up and eat so they can go back to the iPad. They want to run back to the iPad.
Yep. And that's a big no to us. There's no phones at the table. There's no answering the phones at the table. No.
Yeah, my daughter asked me for a phone the other day. 5 fucking years old. She asked me for a phone. I said, you can't even count, and you want a phone. I go, what are you going to do with a phone? What are you, fucking Britney Spears? Where are you going with the phone? Well, some of the kids at school got phones, and I go, yeah, okay, well, good for them. I said, listen, I don't know what to tell you about with the phone shit, but no, you can't have a phone. Same with my son. He's like, am I going to get an iPhone? I'm like, listen, man, you're 9 years old. You don't even have pubes yet, and you want a fucking telephone. So where you going? Where you going with a phone? I don't know what you want to do with a phone. I like I said, I just discovered how to use a phone, and you guys called me, and I fucked it up tonight. So I'll give you an idea. I'll give you an idea. But it's like to have a phone because I found a little symbol. It's got the half moon on it, and I thought, this is nice. So. You could check it to see if anybody calls you when you want, but otherwise, my wife, texted me about some PTA bullshit or something. I can just avoid it, because I love these PTA meetings. You go to these fucking PTA meetings, and now you know how Nazi rallies started. You really do when you go to PTA meetings. You go, this is how Nazi rallies got started. Because you got people in there that argue and bitch over stuff that just absolutely is like, if that's all you got to worry about, you're doing pretty good. You really are when you live in the suburbs. It's like fucking poltergeist around my house. It's that type of suburb where the parents at these PTA meetings, they bitch and complain about everything, the stupidest little thing. And you're sitting there and you're going, the only thing on my mind is, when can I get out of here? Can I get out of here? Because you want to be seen there. And when I walk in, they're like, oh, there's that guy. That's that guy. That's the Italian guy. I'm like the minority, in the neighborhood. They see me coming and they bring their kids in the house. I'm like the plague when he comes by your door. They put the fucking sheep's blood on their door. So when I walk around, but I tell my wife, I'm like, no, man, I'm tired of this PTA shit. It's a big waste of time. We're thinking of adding 2 drinking fountains to the west, and we wanted to know your thoughts. Any thoughts? And like 20 hands go up. Gotta be kidding me.
Is it going to self-sanitize?
We're gonna switch themes this year for the Halloween party? Any suggestions? And I'm like, you fucking gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I thought we were in here to talk about, policing or how the kids are going to get to school safe, or who's, what asshole did what, or, who needs a beating, that kind of shit. None of that. It's all bullshit. And you're just sitting there going, these people got nothing else going on, and they blame the teachers for everything. And I'm just like, okay, it's nice, but I still feel like I'm not living the life. I feel like I'm living somebody else's life, when you move to the suburbs. Growing up in the city, I never thought I'd be living in the burbs. Because I could live anywhere. I don't give a shit. Honestly. As long as they leave me alone, that's where I want to live. He's like, where would you want to live, Sal? I'm like, will they leave me alone? Then anywhere. If I'm at Disney World and you're fucking with me, then I don't even want to be at Disney World. Because why? Because you're fucking with me. Every 20 minutes. What are we going on now? Why are we going on that ride? I don't want to go on this ride. And I don't know if you've ever had to pull the old Crazy Ivan and say, we're done with this. We're going home, or we're going back to the room, or we're turning around. But I had to do that this year at Disney one time because my kids were bitching too much. And, it tends to be a bluff too much, but every once in a while you have to let them know that if they're going to continue this type of behavior, you're willing to shut the whole thing down. You hate to do it, but, when they start bitching and complaining or they're ungrateful, then you got to say, all right, then that's it. I'm turning around. Party's over. Have you ever had to do that, or am I the crazy father? The lunatic.
Oh no. When it gets crazy, it's like if you don't knock it off, we're turning around, and that's it. And there's no going back. Once the car goes, you're done.
I had to do it at Disney this year. I mean, I could hear. See, you want to take them on all the rides, and even some of the smaller ones, because Disney World has a lot of great little things to offer that a lot of people, most people go on the big rides. They go on the most popular stuff, but they've also got a lot of other stuff that I try. Like they got a couple, like Epcot's got this great art exhibition, of the conceptual drawings for the original Disneyland and all that kind of stuff. And I love to look at that kind of stuff. And then they got stuff for his sister, which is stuff meant for, not meant for, James Coburn and, fucking Lee Marvin, fighting with chains on the back of a train. My son, all of a sudden, he's fucking Steve McQueen, And then I could hear them. Just because you don't say anything doesn't mean I don't hear everything. I hear everything, and I don't always say that I hear it. And I could hear him bitching. Oh, this is a dumb ride. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, why are we going on this ride? This is dumb. I'm bored. I'm this. And it went on and on and on. And now, mind you, I was already melting. I was already just I was like Papillon. I was in fucking French Guiana at this point. Where I had a balloon with my money shoved up my ass so that I wouldn't lose it, get robbed. And I had nothing left. I was like, basically like the Terminator when the fire burned off everything, and it was just a fucking exoskeleton walking around with the limp. Remember when he still had the limp? That was me at Disney World, limping. And I was still going after Sarah Connor, trying to fucking, until they finally crushed me, and that was me. So I finally pulled him aside, and I said, look, I'm doing all this for you guys. And if you're that unhappy, and you're that miserable, and this is holding you up from whatever the fuck it is you do, you got to do. You got to take your boards, your law, your medical boards at Harvard or something. Then we'll just get the hell out of here, because I don't need this aggravation. I got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, prodding me. And I'm like King Kong in the shackles where they're, don't take the pictures, you're going to scare him. That was me. And they kept snapping the pictures until finally I just had to go nuts and start ripping the theater apart and climb the Empire State Building. And I said, that's it. We're done. You know what? We're going back to the hotel. I've had enough. You kids don't know when enough is enough. And you got to understand that there's consequences for your actions.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to bitch and complain and you're ungrateful, my old man never took us to Disney World. We couldn't afford it. It was just how it was. We had a big family, and he was a working-class guy, and we just, it didn't happen. And then it turns into, it's like, my God. It becomes, like Sophie's Choice all of a sudden when I said we're going back to the room. They're fucking rolling around on the floor. And my daughter jumped in front of one of the hillbillies with their carts and tried to kill herself.
I think...
My son starts beating up Donald Duck, and my wife's like, what? My wife's like, calm down. I'm like, I'm calm. I'm perfectly calm. I was having a good time till these two started, till it turned into fucking Magneto and the Evil Mutants all of a sudden, and I'm fucking fighting Sentinels. I was having a good time.
I think that's the hardest thing to teach young kids. There's consequences for doing something.
You have to become a lunatic every once in a while. Yeah. You really do. And I hate to say it, but unless they understand that there's a breaking point, there's a point that they cannot exceed, they will always try to keep going a little further.
Sure.
And a little further. And unless they know, all right, you know what, you just pushed, you went too far. You went out with one too many Puerto Ricans, and you wound up getting clapped. So it was. I said, enough is enough. We're going back to the room, and I meant it. I wasn't kidding, even though my wife was giving me the look like, are you bluffing or not? I go, no, I'm not bluffing, because these kids got to understand that this sense of entitlement has got to fucking stop.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of the whole culture, man. They got everything.
Oh, yeah.
They got everything.
Well,
the shoes, the clothes, the bag. You see the backpacks and the shit. I mean, they got everything.
Mine are old enough to do things around the house. They live there. They can take care of making their bed, doing some wash, helping out with the dishes, whatever it is. And I forget what movie it was over the summer that everybody wanted to go see, me especially. And it was a Saturday, and you have to have all this done before we can go to the movie. If this isn't done, we're not going. And I had already missed opportunities to go the couple weeks before. All right. It got to that day, and stuff wasn't done. And I'm like, look, I am going to the movie, come hell or high water. You all come or not, I don't care. I'm going. I've waited 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm going. Yeah. And they're like, well, what do you mean? We'll go. And I'm like, no, you have to get your stuff done. If it's not done by this time, I'm going without you. And I went. And that was it. When I got home, and they're like, well, are we going to go next time? No, we're not going to go. You guys can wait till it's out on video and whatever. We rent it, see it.
Right.
I went and saw it because I had had enough of waiting. And,
Good.
And it's consequences. They didn't get their stuff done. That's what happens.
I mean, look, man, everybody's got their breaking point.
Yeah.
And I hated to do, and I told my wife, I mean, it had been going on a long time, too. It had been going on for most of the day, where my son, but then my son just kept, we were at the what is it, the movie, park.
Yeah, Disney Studios.
Disney movie. It used to be MGM, and then they changed it to Hollywood Studios, I think they called it.
That's it, Hollywood Studios.
And it was hot. And I mean, there's not a piece of shade to be found in that Hollywood park. I'm not kidding. It is like the Serengeti. You're like wildebeests run by you. Yeah. I mean, they're just like, holy shit. There's like vultures circling over waiting for people to drop. And I said, I'm done. I've had enough. This has been going on all day. This kid has been complaining all day, all day about this bullshit. And I said, if it's that much misery, tell you what, I got a solution for you, my friend. It's over. I'll take it off your hands. We'll just wrap it all up. Then you're a monster all of a sudden. You're not my friend anymore. I'm not going to be your friend anymore, he told me. I go, let me get that in writing. I go, put it in writing, sign the contract, and tell me that, I don't want to deal with you. And I'm like, you can find a better deal out there anyway. You let me know. I'm going to put up with your bullshit, because and then you can't get them up in the morning because they never want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Everything's an argument. Every night it's like the first time they've ever had to go to bed. It kills me. When you go, all right, time for bed, they're like, bed? What are you talking about? What is that?
Nobody else goes to bed.
Night. Every night, same argument. And then they don't want. And then you catch him. I caught my son the other night with the iPad in the room. It's midnight. He was fucking playing video games. I get up to go to the bathroom, and my wife leaves the fucking Dyson right in the middle of the hallway to remind me to bring it down. Okay? Fucking midnight, I trip over the Dyson vacuum cleaner. I mean, I felt like a ton of shit, right? And I'm like, son of a bitch, you got to put the vacuum cleaner. You know, you stub your toe as only you could stub your toe at 2 in the morning. You know, it's not even. It's like a piece of your soul gets fucked up when you stub your toe at 2 in the morning. And then I hear this buzzing sound, you know, like a transistor radio or something. And I go, son of a bitch. And I open up the door, and I could see the light coming from under the fucking covers. Mm-hmm. And I go, this little bastard. And it's late, man. It's well past midnight. And he's got the headset on, and he's playing video games in his room with the iPad. And I said, look at this. I said, nice fucking country, America. Stay up all night, play video games, and then tomorrow morning when you got to go to school, everybody's tired. You know, nobody wants to get up because, I'm so tired. So I scared the shit out of him. I turned the light on. He jumped about 6 feet in the air. And then I said, what are you doing? Nothing. Nothing. I'm like, little bastard. I said, everybody's dumb, right? I said, how the hell are you going to get up for school tomorrow? Why, is it late? I'm like, is it late? I mean, the fucking paper boy just hit the door with the paper. What do you mean it's late? Not anymore. But I said, that's it. That's it. No more iPad. The iPad privileges are gone till the next election. I don't want to hear this shit anymore. Now, are you guys? Are you one way or another with the election, or are you staying out of the election?
Well,
so they say stay away from politics and religion.
Before we started talking the show, we had a little, but we were all like, we're just going to
staying away from it.
We're just staying away from it. We're staying away from it.
Yeah,
we're unanimous in our refusal to participate.
Yeah.
I gotta say this. Either way, I'll be glad when the shit's over because it is just. I'm so tired. I'm tired of it, man. It's stressful because there's a lot of hate and a lot of venom and a lot of people are going nuts, and that's one of the things I'm glad I'm going to Italy is that I could just get away from all the nonsense, man. It's been crazy. This election's been it's been insane.
Yes, it has.
You know, the level of back and forth. So I'm with you guys because Alex, when he did the Obama stuff, he did a couple of Village Voice covers back when it was the Bush Obama thing. We got a lot of heat, man, a lot of criticism, and a lot of hate mail, and I mean some malicious shit when he did the Obama, he did the Obama with the shirt open piece, and then he did a couple of Village Voice covers, with George Bush and all that. And so when this time came around, he's like, they asked for some stuff, and I said, you know what, man? I said, stay away from it, honest to God. I know, he likes to, I know it's freedom of the press and freedom of expression and all that, and Sienkiewicz is like that. He's very political. He just did a really cool piece for the Village Voice, a really cool cover. I don't know if he's going to show it on his Facebook page or he's waiting until they give him the okay, but he showed it to me the other day, and it's very, very cool. Trump piece. But I said, no, stay away from it, man. I really think it's just, you don't have to, just don't say anything. You don't have to say one way or another. So when people say start, it's like when I was at the bar. I go, guys, no religion, no politics, man, because that's when people get all hot. And the argument can go hot real fast. So I'll just be glad when it's over. Yep. That's all. I absentee vote before I leave, and then I go, well, actually this year I think I'll be back. Election is what, the 5th?
I think it's actually November 8th.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So I'll be back, but I'll be glad that the next 2 weeks, it's going to just amp up even more. There's going to be even more mudslinging these next couple of weeks. Yeah. Now, the third debate, I don't even know why they needed a third debate. It was all just the same shit. They were going at each other's throats. Another, I'm like, really, guys? Do we need another debate? Honest to God, Can't we just, at this point, can't we just say, all right, enough already? If you don't know, who knows? Anybody who knows, if you don't know one way or another by now, then I don't know what the hell you need to hear. I mean, honestly, I think anybody whose mind isn't made up by now is full of shit. I think a lot of the undecided, I think that's all bullshit. I think they love the attention they get by saying, "Oh, I'm undecided," because then everybody goes, "Really?" And then they want to talk them into their side. But come on, if you don't know by now whether you want one or the other, I think you're full of shit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know.
Well, Sal, it is getting a little late here in the East Coast. So I think we're going to wrap it up soon. I just want to, again, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, that
no, that's fine.
That I came on late and I screwed the pooch with that.
It's okay. Happy to have you on.
Yeah.
I could talk to you forever. You're just one of my favorite people.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for
coming on. Not a problem. And I don't know when I'll see you next. Maybe I'll try to get you one of the maybe I'll go back and see you again
I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try. I mean, I don't know if you're doing anything. Are you doing any in the spring? You doing any between now and the summer, or no?
I might try to go to Emerald City, and I might try to go to C2E2. Those are two shows I'd like to do again.
Well, I'll definitely be at C2E2. I'm going to try to go to Emerald, but I'll definitely be at C2E2.
Excellent.
So maybe we'll get together and have dinner.
I'll put that top of my list then.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care.
Anytime, Sal.
Keep in touch. Let me know if you need anything.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, guys. Stay out of trouble.
All right.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
But like I said, I love Sal. I just love talking to him. He makes me laugh. He's generally a very kind person to us.
Oh, yeah.
And so I love talking to him. I give him... I think it's also therapy for the guy. I'm sure he just doesn't want to talk to somebody for 2 hours. He's not like yelling at him for giving me this or whatever. He's just happy to talk to familiar faces.
Yeah.
Cheaper than a therapist.
Exactly. Cheaper than a therapist. So thanks again to Sal, and thank you for listening. Once again, this episode was brought to you by Wild Pig Comics and their upcoming sale this Saturday, October 29th from 12 to 6, the Halloween Comic Fest. at 14 South Michigan Avenue, Kenilworth, New Jersey. Come by, wildpigcomics.com. Most of us, I think, will be there. Actually, no, we'll all be there. You, me, and Mert will be there, and he actually may there's some other people. So
that's right.
Excellent.
Be there.
So we hope to see you there.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com. To send an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know what you think of all the Sal talk. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We'd like to thank everyone who contributes to the show. We appreciate it. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was psyched about it going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From cakes to laser beams, opinions like the